Hello everyone, it's Matt here and welcome to the review of LEGO set number 70623, which features three figures and not only this big ship but also the enemy ship, and it also has a rather unique feature where it actually deploys some ships as well. So let's start the review by having a look at the figures. And here we have the figures included in the set, and these are left to right Lloyd, Cole and Vermin. And as you can see, these have excellent printing both on the front and the rear of the torsos, although there is no side printing. Both Lloyd and Cole share the same headgear piece, although two-tone green for Lloyd and black and grey for Cole. Vermin has a dual moulded headgear piece in sort of a metallic grey for the base, and then with some trans red for the snake pieces coming out the side. Both Cole and Vermin have dual printed heads for different expressions, although Lloyd is missing one sadly. And in the last photo you can actually see their standard faces exposed with headgear pieces and armament pieces in front of them. The set has 3 bags, 2 instruction manuals, and 3 extra pieces included in the box, including the 2 kayaks and also the translucent wing pieces for the boat itself. After bag 1, you have completed the main base of the ship, as well as the start of the mechanism for the wing folding, as well as Vermin's flyer, and as well as the kayaks, which are going to be used later in the set. Bag 2 yields some rather interesting pieces, including the new macaroni piece, and well as 1x1 round with whole pieces in gold, and some other pieces included in gold or this rather lovely deep red colour. Now we've had a look at the figures, let's have a look at the hero ship. And this is the Destiny. As you can see, it's quite large. I'd probably say it's about 30 centimeters in length in total. Obviously that's not the sheep, that would obviously be including the front sort of like dragon head if you like, and also the antennae which stick out from the rear of the ship. In terms of play features, there's actually a fair few with this ship, and the biggest one, which is surprisingly extremely well hidden except for the back, and it's actually a deploy of the wings, so, or as I'd call them. So there's a push forward mechanism there where the yellow is, and that actually pushes forward these 2 wings on the side. These are actually these are one of the see-through plasticky pieces that LEGO produces every so often, and here is the sheet it was actually cut out from, because they obviously print it and then they cut it out, or do certainly a most cut out, and then you just have to pop off the final few pieces or anchor points. It is a mirror design, so you can't get it the wrong way around, but it is a really, in terms of actual play features, it's remarkably simple in execution but remarkably technical in design because of the way they've used certain pieces to actually achieve mechanism. But the wings aren't the only feature on this ship. There's also 2 stud shooters right here at the front, and obviously I haven't put the launcher bits in, and I haven't put any ammo on, but they are included in the spares box, which we'll look at in a bit. And there's also a rather unique feature where you can deploy these 2 kayaks, and these are the old style Lego kayak in a rather nice sort of malachite green, not malachite, khaki green colour, and you get 2 of them, and you also get 2 oars. Now the oars are remarkably well hidden on the ship. They're actually in the nose here. You can actually see there's one there and there's another one just poking out here. In terms of the underside, it's all smoothed out with these 2x2 inverse tiles, so obviously the studs are, these don't have anti-studs, they have actual studs on the inside, so if I take that off you can see that there. And that also does mean that this will glide fairly well on surfaces. In terms of aesthetics, the set's generally good. There's no stickers on it, surprisingly. So any pieces you see are printed. So obviously the wings are printed, but all these are printed. So you get 8 of them in total, because obviously it's duplicated. And you also have a unique printed piece. I believe a unique printed piece. There you go. And this is the only control on the ship. And in speaking of control, I'll take the figures off because obviously you've seen enough of them. You have a little control cabin there, which is where the tile fits in, with a obligatory coffee mug. You also have a seat here for a captain, if you like, and obviously you've got the main deck here. I don't really think there's a lot else to talk about on this ship, other than the fact that there's quite a good portion of ball joints. So you have some in this mechanism here, and you also have some in the ship anchoring, the kayak attachment points to the rear here. And you can also flip these up and down, though to be honest I don't know why you'd actually need to do that, because they don't actually perform any function other than just changing the aesthetic. The rear looks fit, with the exception of the yellow for the mechanism, looks fairly decent, surprisingly. Obviously there are a few bits where you can actually see missed colours, and a few other bits. For example, you can see the yellow in the mechanism here at the back. You can see some of the Technic here. There's the odd gap here there in construction. Like the mechanism, for example, that has a bit of a gap around it under there. But generally speaking, they've hidden quite a lot of the technical aspects quite well for a ship. And surprisingly has a good number of parts. And obviously I'll do a bit of discussion about that during the build section. But obviously, in terms of ships, it's actually a fairly nice one. Although I will say that for its size, the two figures actually fit in surprisingly well, because obviously you've got a sort of captain or person in the controls, then obviously got somebody else on a watch out position. But anyway, that is the hero ship, as it were. Let's have a look at the enemies. And here it is, and what can I say except from the fact that it's tiny, and it's also rather black, so it might not appear properly on the camera. So I'm going to increase the brightness. I can. That might appear slightly washed out now, but if I take the figure off, you can actually see that this is actually constructed pretty much around angled plates to get a nice clean cut. What I will say though is that because it's at an angle, and because of where the studs are, and that this section isn't raised to the level of the other bits, is that you can't actually place a figure on here except for at an angle. So you can only put it that way or that way, because there's no way to anchor a figure to face that way with the tiles being like this. And speaking of tiles, there's actually a rather interesting use of a piece here, in that you get 2 of these black ingot pieces, which actually form some of the outer trim on the top here. So you get one there and a second one here. You actually also get, if you want to, 2 weapons out of this, like that, because these are only clipped on, although these actually form part of the flyer. To the actual build, this is really simple. There's not a lot really to talk about this, aside from some interesting parts usage, and just the fact that it's an unusual design really for Lego, in terms of the fact that it is so angled and it's not a conventional forward and back. It's more, whereas normal Lego is normally sort of a fairly straightforward sort of X and Y build. This is at an angle, which works well in terms of obscureness or unusualness, if that's such a word, but for actual playability, because it's angled, it actually makes it worse, because obviously, as you've just seen, if I put a figure on here, it has to be like that, which kind of looks weird with that stud there, or it has to be there, and again you get the same effect, but now it's that stud and you could theoretically, if you bent the leg back, do sort of that, which would kind of level it out, but then they're kind of also overhanging the back. So no matter what you do, a figure on this flyer will look remarkably bad, because obviously it'll look unbalanced. So now that's both of the ships looked at, let's have a look at the set in total. So then, what do I think of the set overall? Personally, I'm actually kind of surprised. There's a remarkable amount of interesting use of pieces in terms of actual unique and unusual pieces themselves, from the gold bar to the custom or new print 2x1 tile piece, the black ingot pieces used on the flyer. There's quite a large amount of playability in this set on its own, in addition to the fact you get the working stud shooters and the deployable wings from the main ship, and the fact you actually get 3 ships in one, essentially, because you have the Destiny itself and then you have the 2 kayaks. And so overall, I'd probably rate this I'm probably going to be generous here, 8.5, 9 out of 10. Possibly even a 9.5. The biggest drawback I will say for this set is the flyer, because this looks incredibly weak and minuscule compared to the fact you have the rest of this. Essentially, aside from this and this figure, the rest is all hero stuff. So obviously it's supposed to be heroes versus villains, but from a playable perspective, there's remarkably little amount of villainy, if you like, for the set. So obviously I think a little bit more in terms of the actual build for the enemy would have been better. In terms of the ship though, I can't, aside from some of the exposed pieces like this Technic piece down here and some of the Technic used for the top here, you can just about see the grey in the shadows. Really, it's a remarkably well thought out build. So kudos to Lego. Would I recommend it? Definitely. One thing I will say though is that if you're buying it on its own, you're probably going to be possibly disappointed. But if you're going to buy it in conjunction with other Ninjago stuff, I would heartily recommend going for this set, because it's quite a large amount of play features. You get a good variety of things to do, and there's enough weapons to go all round, and there's even some spares as well. So obviously, ignoring this katana here, which is actually from Lloyd, so obviously that goes with him. And obviously these also include the spares and the stud for the stud shooter, etc. But you also get all of these spares, so there's quite a large variety here, including some of these gold pieces. So you have a 1x1 round tile, some of these spear tips, which you get 2 spare, some Technic pins, and some metallic silver, I think, or flat silver pieces, which are shiny. So yeah, there's a good amount of pieces in the set for its price, so I'd recommend it. But anyway, that's my review of the set, and I'll see you in the next video.